Watch, Judge Jeanine issues terrifying Antifa warning. The rise of Antifa has been a growing concern, but Judge Jeanine Pirro revealed something more terrifying than their rise to power. According to Fox News, Judge Jeanine believes Antifa is becoming a tool of the left to combat President Trump and his supporters, regardless of the dangers involved. She states, with conviction and an air of condescension, the left so hates Donald Trump and those who support him that they sanction the use of violence against them. The goal of these haters is to normalize, incite, and mobilize hatred and turn it into violence. According to The Atlantic, Antifa, also known as anti-fascists, has gained prominence since Mr. Trump's candidacy in 2016, declaring President Trump, his supporters, and everything they stand for as fascist. Antifa has grown as a movement to counteract his efforts. This effort to resist President Trump gained popularity and attention with the left, who shared a common goal: opposing President Trump. This support has seen Antifa grow in power and go unpunished for its thuggish behavior and outright terrorism. These individuals have swarmed upon countless protests and rallies, turning the events into scenes of chaos by smashing up businesses, vandalizing vehicles, setting fires, and violently attacking any who opposed them, even law enforcement. The irony here is that Antifa is itself guilty of a major element of fascism: the silencing of opposing views and criticisms. Judge Jeanine makes this point, saying, "The very ones who call you fascists and label themselves anti-fascist or Antifa are changing the rules." She says Antifa is doing this by attempting to recast our legal system by making violence acceptable against political opponents. The idea is to demonize those they disagree with enough so violence against them is considered justified and morally acceptable, regardless of how factual or fair that demonization actually is. In combination with the effort to justify violence is to downplay when violence actually occurs. An example of this was when Rep. Steve Scalise RLA was severely injured during a shooting at a congressional baseball practice among Republicans. At the time, the media portrayed the shooter as a crazed individual on a rampage with no political motivations, but Judge Jeanine argues the man was focused, lucid, and clear when attacking Republicans. She says before the shooting, the shooter asked one congressman if those present were Democrats or Republicans. After verifying they were Republicans, he later began shooting. What's scarier than the rise of Antifa is how readily supported and justified they are by the left. Their acts of violence and terror are quickly downplayed as some form of preemptive attack against individuals they fear. Supporters of President Trump, many of them hardworking, morally upstanding citizens without a prejudice, are portrayed as bigots seeking to tear apart the U.S. Americans who express their patriotic views, who value hard work and traditional values, are finding their beliefs and opinions becoming unacceptable in the eyes of the left, to the point that those views are being met with violence and hatred. There is no rationality for the violence expressed by Antifa. They are not upstanding moral heroes of the left. They are terrorists using the threat of violence to silence those who disagree with them. And according to Judge Jeanine, the more the left supports this political intolerance and unrestricted violence, the more fascist they themselves become.